I think you know what's important too is I don't think people really understand of how therapeutic this is for me and you as well.
I love this.
You know what I mean? Like being able to you know what I'll share, Guerrero, is this. You know what's funny? As I mentioned a little while ago, is like you know, we think that we're the only ones going through something or the only ones that ever been through it before, right? Well, the funny thing is all of these questions that keep coming up, you know, all of these you know, anything that someone else is going through, not only have other people went through them already, but other people have, you know, there's already an answer out there. There's already a response. There's already a solution to it. Okay. And so as we revisit them over and over and over, it's therapeutic and it's helpful because all it does is reinstill into us those resources that we need just in case we ever hit a brick wall. But it also helps people to say, wait a second, these people they already went through this. This is the same question that keeps coming up over and over, and the answer doesn't change.
Mhm.
So maybe I need to write this one down and lock it up here so that if I ever run into it or the next time I do run into it, I know exactly what I need to say or what I need to do when that happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That I think that's I don't think people realize how powerful this information is. Like what it actually does, not only to the people who are learning it, but to the people who are teaching it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, people they just it's like they take it for granted or they just don't believe it enough because but like when you read a book, especially
Yeah.
but now the new uh like the new I mean the new era that we're in right now, we're like the new books, we're like the new information because we're live, we're
Yeah.
actually uh talking to you guys as we're living it and we're experienced it and we take you back into memory lane and we have the data that we've been tracking of where we were, where we used to be. So now it's more believable. So now I think a lot of people
Hmm.
are getting, more help by that, by doing these podcasts, doing these videos,
Hmm.
these Q&As where like it's actually coming from the horse's mouth versus reading an old book that sometimes a lot of people they're like, well, I wonder if it's a fairy tale or if it's true. But what is it that you really do? You want to believe it as that? I would like take it as like I'm gonna believe it, because believe.
Absolutely.
But it's a lot, now this day and age is a lot better on what we're doing, and that's why it's
Hmm.
you know
Yeah, and one of the things that was taught to me many years ago too, because I would question a lot of shit, right? I
yeah
would challenge a lot of shit, like what that sounds like. Look at this book I just showed up, The Voice of the Master. If someone would have showed me this book 15 years ago, I'm like, fuck that. That shit sounds scary. Like what? Like
yeah
a voice of what? Whose voice? What master? You know what I mean?
yeah.
You know,
We what is it that we call we're close-minded, very close-minded when it comes to like things that could help us because we just it's our old way of thinking, that nah, come on, that like okay, like we don't take shit serious, is that like we were never like back then.
well, especially from our culture,
Yeah,
especially from our
that's
culture.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, they'll be like, "You're dumb. What are you reading?" Oh no, the voice of the master. I'm gonna fucking show you a master. Get over here, fucking rake those leaves, fucking.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
my master.
Yeah, no, 100% because in our culture, you don't go against the grain.
Yeah.
You don't you don't do something different or read or believe something different than your family believes. You don't do that. And so, you know,
Guatemala.
now, yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of superstition. You know, we grow up with a lot of superstition, you know, and that's not that doesn't help us, especially it doesn't help us as men to be able to get out here and make difficult decisions, especially when we need to, right? And so, you know, one of the things is that was taught to me when I was challenging information. They said, don't before you challenge it. They said before you fight against it, ask yourself if it makes sense here. They
Mm,
said when you hear Guerrero talk, or if you hear me talk, and you hear both of us say something and teach something, If you can feel it in here that it makes sense, I would strongly suggest that you run with that. Okay. Because our bodies are designed, when it hears the truth, it knows it. Just like you know it when somebody's bullshitting you or somebody's not flying straight with you or somebody's trying to, pull a fast one on you. You know it. You know when you're being sold something. You know when somebody's trying to get something out of you. But your body also knows when someone's trying to put you up on game and share some information with you that you need. Okay. Another thing that someone taught me too was when you hear a bit of information like you're hearing right now, it's not by accident. You're at the right place at the right time. You're hearing what it is that you need to hear at that moment. Okay. So instead of fighting against it or challenging it, you need to ask yourself, shit, why am I hearing that right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I hearing that right now at this moment? And just so you know, me and Guerrero, we don't know what you're going through right now in your life. Okay. However, I want you to ask yourself this question. Why is it that the stuff that we're talking about is deeply resonating with you, your life, and your problems right now? Okay. How is that possible if we don't even know what you're going through? And I'll tell you why. Because what you're hearing right now is not by accident. It's because you're at the right place at the right time. And whatever it is that we're talking about, remember, me and Guerrero, we're just having a fucking conversation. Just between us. This conversation goes on, whether it's being recorded or not. I might call him afterwards and just continue the convo because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
All you're doing is listening and overhearing a conversation between two guys that fucking grew up together, worked together, and known each other for almost 30 years. Okay. So you need to ask yourself, why am I hearing what they're talking about right now? Why am I feeling it right here? And why does it make sense to what's going on currently and today in my life?
Mm-hmm.
It's because you're at the right place at the right time. And what it is that we're talking about, it's information that you need to hear.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll leave it at that, brother.
No, 100%. That's gold, man. One thing that I said a long time ago, and I think I heard it from you too, that you said, the teacher appears when the student is ready, you know?
Oh, that's deep, bro. Yeah, yeah. It you said it correctly. It says the teacher only appears when the student is ready. And it all there's another saying I heard recently, Guerrero. It says something like the ears, like the ears will only hear the ears, only the ears that are ready to listen will hear the message. Something like that, right? But it's the same thing, whether you there's a high possibility, okay, that somebody has been asking questions already. They've been praying or they've been crying out, or maybe they haven't said shit, but just deep down inside here, they're looking for answers. They're looking for more information to help them build a better life or resolve their issues. That's what I'm trying to tell you is we don't live in a universe based off of coincidences or accidents.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking for information, the universe is going to find a way to get that information to you. And so if you're listening to what me and Guerrero are talking about, there's a high possibility I'll put money on that you're supposed to hear what we got to say. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And we'll probably see you in one of our trainings and seminars in the very near future because of that. That's how this works, by the way. So
No, 100%.